Have you ever wondered what the life of an instrumentalist is like? Why they play what they play and what drives them? Oh, have you thought about why you love a particular song? Instrumentalists, they give us the best in music, and yet we don't appreciate them as much as we ought to. And so, we bring you your favorite instrumentalist and everything that concerns them. Tighten your seatbelts, relax, and enjoy as we take you on this wonderful journey of learning and exploration on the Behind the Music Show with your hosts Eza and Lutz Devi.
Hi everyone, this is Behind the Music Show, a show that is about instrumentalists, sound engineers, producers, and songwriters. Today on the show, we have a guy, a man that was recommended to us, a mentor of Waswa Asa. He talked about sound, and we wanted to bring him on set today to interview him and to get to know about sound and everything that is embedded in sound. My name is Lutz Devi, and today on the show we have Edson Muhwezi.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi.
Edson.
Thank
How
you
are
for having me on this show.
Oh, we are so much honored, sir.
It's an honor to be here. My name is Edson Muhwezi.
Yes.
I'm an audio engineer and also sound mixer. I do live audio engineering and as well as studio mixing. Yeah, that is what I do.
All right,
Yes.
we are so happy to have you. I'm so glad and excited to have you on the show. Thank you for allowing to be interviewed today.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it's allowed.
Edson.
Yes.
When did you begin this? How and when did you begin this journey?
I began this journey in 2013.
2013.
Exactly, 2013. I was still in Uptech. I did Uptech Computer. I was at Uptech Computer Institution, and around that time I wasn't really in a church. So my uncle, I went to visit my uncle, and he brought me to Worship Harvest Ministries, and I was intrigued. I was very, very excited by their sermons and their teachings, and they kept coming. And one day they asked, "We need help on the sound with the sound department." I was like, So in back when I was a child, I've always loved music. I've always wanted to know and be involved in this music thing. And so I just said this might be a door into it, and so I joined the team. I had no idea of the term sound engineer and what. I was new, I was green, I was fresh, and yes, the person who introduced me was Paul Kazibwe. He was the first sound engineer at Worship Harvest, and that's where my journey began.
Yeah, you talked about sound engineering. What's that?
Yes, so sound engineering is it's an art and a science. So you combine music with technology and to create the final product. So ideally, so someone goes to studio to record, and so the producer makes the beat and gives it to the artist, and then they record. And then the sound engineer or sound mixer comes in and fine tunes those details. He balances the volumes of the tracks, of the keyboards, make sure, say the piano is not higher than the singer. And yes, that's what the sound engineer does. He controls the volume of everything you hear.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I do. I do it both live. By live, I mean out of studio, let's say in a concert, at church, outdoor shows, events, and then also in studio.
All right.
So that's what a sound engineer does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who inspires you in this?
In this sound engineering thing.
Yes.
So I met Paul Kazibwe, and he introduced me to this whole world, and my mind just exploded. And then around that time, they brought in a gentleman known as Edson Muhwezi, and my mind even exploded more. And he has been an unbelievable mentor to me. I always go to him for advice. I look up to him. He's the founder of the Collective UG, and he has trained a lot of young people to find purpose in God, for life here on earth, and that's his mission. That's the goal of the Collective UG. And so while in that process, I also found myself doing sound, among other things. But yeah, I was so inspired by him, and he kept pushing me. He keeps pushing me even till today.
I know.
And yeah, he's my biggest inspiration.
Wow.
Yes.
Back in the days, I was looking for a sound guy.
Yes.
I had a show,
Yeah.
and talked to people that had nice sound.
Yes.
And the very first person they recommended
Yeah.
was you.
Okay.
Was you.
Wow.
So these are big people. These
Yeah.
are big people in the industry. People
Yeah.
that we look up to there. So I was just being inquisitive.
Yeah.
Who does your sound? And everyone was telling me, man, you should meet this guy called Edson.
Yes.
So
Yes.
a question is, what do you do? What is special about that everyone likes your sound?
I guess for me, I personally just keep researching, doing research, practicing. I remember when I started out at Worship Harvest, things were rough. I didn't know what frequencies were. I didn't know what to look out for. I didn't know how altos should be different from tenors and sopranos. I didn't understand. So the first key was to understand all those things. And I think that's where many people miss. They skip the process of understanding all these details. So just because someone is singing on stage doesn't mean they have to be at the same volume as the lead singer, or balancing tenors, altos, sopranos, baritones, and all those components. And so I had to research weekly. So every week there was a new challenge. Every week there was a challenge. Say there was feedback, I'd go maybe to YouTube or to Nelson and do research, and I'd come back with a solution, and it works. And then the next challenge, a cable is faulty. So I went back to YouTube, see how they fix cables, came back, fixed the cables. So it was a whole process. This was, so I started, like I said, this was late 2013 when I joined the team, December 2013. And so the whole year of 2014 was just learning. 2014-15 was just learning what sound is, what music is. Like, it was a whole different world altogether. And I think that's where people will need to put in more effort, just finding out details about the art, the craft they're in. If you're playing a keyboard, do you know all the keys on the board? Do you know what they sound like? Are you in perfect tune if you're playing guitar or saxophone or things like that? Just doing more research on your craft.
So in other words, a sound guy should also know every component on the stage, so that you can make good sound.
Yes, ideally, that would be the best way. Like, if you understand how everything sounds, and if you understand the genre of music that the people are trying to create, if you're trying to understand, and if you try to feel what they want to express, that's what the sound engineering is doing. The sound engineer is doing. You're putting out there what these people are trying to express. You're amplifying what they're trying to express, and so you have to understand all these components, and yeah, that's why maybe I'm recommended by many people. Yes.
I remember a concert I at there in Nakulabi, and we had the same sound.
Yes, yes.
And you came with a lady, was it Sandra or this lady? I'm forgetting her
Salome?
name. Yes.
Yes, Salome, yes.
We had done sound check.
Yes.
We
yes.
had done sound check,
Yes.
and the same sound.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing this guy, after we had done sound check, Solomon wanted to do sound check.
Yes.
And you came and you took your time.
Yeah.
On the same sound, we came back when sound was totally different.
Yeah.
That's the show that I enjoyed most. That
Wow.
we had done sound check. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So I would also recommend you.
Yeah.
And those-
Yeah.
So how can a person be better or best at doing sound? What can you recommend to them?
Number one, if possible, find a mentor, someone who has been in the industry for a while. There are so many. Okay, there are not very many, but there are people out there who have been exposed, and you can learn from them. For me, that person just happened to be Nelson, and you know he keeps on teaching me things, and now I'm doing the same for others because I was taught for free. I didn't go to school. I didn't learn anything from school. So it's now. I just feel obligated to teach anyone who is interested. So if they can reach out to me, yeah, I'm willing to teach them. Yeah. So one, find a teacher. Two, keep doing research. There's so much content on YouTube, so much. So try some of those things. The thing about sound is this is an experiment. This is it's science. You have to experiment. There's no other way about it. You have to try something. So try it out. If it doesn't work, try something else. If it doesn't work, try something until you find it. And after that, then you can start being creative, add your own. Once you understand everything, you can start adding your own feel to it. So if say you learned on YouTube that a rock guitar should sound like this, maybe along the way you'll find your own taste of how it should sound, and then you change it. So yeah, just experiment, find a teacher, go to YouTube, learn some things, and experiment. Always experiment. Yeah.
Wow. So how about if I need good sound? What can I do to have good sound in say a church setting or on a concert?
Right. So there are very many aspects to that. Number one is the budget. Number one is the budget. What's the budget you're working with? So usually it's not very, very high end, but you know you can find good stuff at good prices. So I know a couple of people who hire out equipment, and so I can reach out to those people and see what they can give me in that budget. And so with that in mind, then I come to, let's say, the building and see, okay, maybe we need a few more speakers here and there. So number one, if it's a church, should I add on to the system they have? Am I going to add on to that? Or should I use what they have? If I'm going to use what they have, am I going to use? Are they going? What expectations do they have? Are they expecting me to, with that same equipment, are they expecting me, say, to do both live, let's say online sound, while also doing house sound? So yeah, those are the details that are needed. But
so number one, you said about your budget.
Yes.
So if you have less money, you're going to have poor sound, so to say.
Not specifically, no. It's not like that. Some churches have really good equipment, but they just don't know how to use it. Yes, I've seen those churches. There are very many churches right now with like digital mixers, but they just don't know how to use them. So they have good equipment, but they just don't know how to use them. And you know, I sometimes offer training. I usually go to different churches, train for a week or two, and yeah, by the time I leave, you know, everyone is confident that they can use the system. So good sound is there's a lot that goes into it. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, I'm seeing you have a ring.
Oh yes, I'm married. Yes. I got married in November last year.
Wow.
Yes.
You don't look like you.
Yes. I'm
So,
married.
so
She's
how
called
do you?
Rukia.
She's called who?
Rukia.
Rukia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have kids yet?
Not yet. No.
Not yet. So how do you
Relax, man. It's November. Relax.
It's November last year.
Yeah, November last year. Relax.
All right.
Yeah.
So how do you strike a balance between
Yeah.
your service, because you guys are needed?
Right.
Say, for example, at church,
Yes.
you have to be the number one person at church because they
Yes.
have to do sound check,
Yes.
and they have to, say there is a service,
Yeah.
and then after everyone has gone, you have to
Sit down.
set down everything.
Yes.
So me, I think there is you need a lot of time
Yes.
on your work,
Yes,
like
yes.
on your board or
Yes.
your console,
Yes.
something like that.
Yes.
How do you strike a balance between your family and what you do?
Family comes first. Yeah, family comes first. Always give time to family, as much of it as you can. But when it's time to work, they since they understand the nature of your work, they know that, hey, it's time for him to work, so they'll know it's natural. Like, you can't force it. Like, he has gone to work, and this is the nature of his work. This is the number of hours. This is the time he works, because as sound engineers do late work at night. So yeah, so there's just an understanding when that happens. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. There is a term, sound engineer and a producer. Most people confuse them.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a producer and a sound engineer?
A producer creates the framework from start. Say, for example, a producer usually in a studio plays a keyboard, maybe adds a bass line, and then a bit of drums, and then gives it to the artist. And then the artist can then come and write some lyrics, and then they record the song. Yeah, that's usually what the producer does. And then the producer also adds other elements to it. And then there is a recording engineer who records all of this stuff. Say the drummer now needs to play live drums. So that's the recording engineer. He records the drummer, the bass guitarist, and all those. And then there's a mixing engineer. Now, these are different terms, but one person can do all of these. One person can be all of this. Though it's not advisable, like professionally, they're different people.
Yes.
But one person can do all of these. Yes, so that's the difference. And then the sound engineer just comes and patches everything together, makes it sound nice, balances all the tracks, and then there is the mastering engineer. Now the mastering is a whole other scientific topic altogether.
You don't
but
do that?
No.
Yeah,
I don't do that. The
So
mastering engineer is the one who makes the final track. He amplifies the track, he cleans it out. This is after mixing. So you send him one file, like let's say one song, and then he'll get that song and just amplify it, make it louder. There is this thing. Not all music can sound good on all systems, and that's where the mastering engineer comes in. The mastering engineer makes that music as much as possible try to fit all systems. Yes, so whether you're using earphones or a laptop, you can hear the music properly. That's where the mastering engineer comes from.
So Edson, there are different events,
Right.
and every event has
Yes.
its own setting.
Yes.
Yeah, could you just mention a few events that have different sounds?
Right. So, for example, if you're going to do an event at, say, Cricket Oval, Lugogo, you need
An open,
yes, that's outdoor.
yes.
You're going to need a line array system, and those are multiple speakers stacked together, and yeah, it has to be loud enough for the person at the back to hear, because yeah, the idea is everyone in the field should have the same experience, whether you're at the far left, the far right, way at the back, or even right at the front of the stage. That everyone should have the same experience.
But then me, I'm assuming that people at the front,
Yes.
it can be like too loud for them.
No, that is why the system is raised way up,
Oh.
about 20 meters off the ground. It has to be very high so that the speakers up there do not affect the people down here. The speakers at the front, called front fields, now those are not as loud as the ones up there. So that allows the people who are in front to hear comfortably. Yes.
So
That's-
another event like
That is
indoor.
that is outdoor. And then indoor can have the same system, but it's not as loud. Or they will not be, okay, depending on how big the indoor is. Some people have stadiums indoors. So yeah, but yeah, you can have the same system, and indoors is even much more flexible in that you can add more speakers to the side, all the way to the back. Yeah, it allows you to have more control over the sound. So yeah, that's the difference.
But also we have outdoor events,
Yes,
say a wedding
yes,
on a reception.
yes,
Does
yes.
it also require that?
No. That's because, okay, that system requires you to have a large amount of people, say 30,000 people or 5,000 people. That's when that type of system comes in. But if you're at a wedding and it's indoor, and usually people at weddings don't really like loud volumes. In my experience, they actually tell you to reduce the volume. So yeah, you can put a couple of point source speakers. Those are the usual box speakers. You can put a couple around the room just to surround the room, and have them at different volumes. So the ones in front are not as loud as the ones at the back. So that's, yeah, it's more cost effective and friendly and just easier to set up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other events that that require your expertise?
Any other events that require my well, I think my recent challenge was on Independence Day, where we had the live victory concert here at Worship Harvest. It's on YouTube. You can go check it out. It's free. The Worship Harvest page. I had to do sound online. Now, sound for online is way different from live sound engineering. I had to be in a controlled environment, so that I could hear what I'm sending out online.
Fill me to the overflow. My cares and burdens I lay down at your feet. Nothing else can satisfy
same experience as a live concert. So I had to isolate myself and use software mostly. Yeah, so it was a whole different experience. So I had to think of myself as not in the concert, but at home seated, watching the show. So I had to mix with that perspective in mind. So that was a new one for me. And it actually came out right. So I'm excited. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, Edson, how can you balance or mix sound for a team? For example, in church,
Yes.
people, their worship teams,
Yes.
choirs.
Yes.
How can someone balance sound
Yes.
with instrumentalists and the backups and the lead singer?
Yes. So they are, well, the best way to go about it, number one, is listen to music that has backups and instrumentalists and generally that music. So if the idea is you have to train your ear to get used to a certain sound. So if you're in a church and you know this is a choir and there are this number of singers and plus this number of instruments, go and listen to, let's say, Kirk Franklin, and that's a choir. There's definitely a choir there and with instruments. Or you go listen to Benny Hinn. There's a choir there with instruments. Yeah, so the idea is to get your mind and ear used to how it sounds like. And then you come back to church and try to do the same thing. So usually the lead singer is the front, at the front. So what that means is the lead singer is singing the most important, is sending out the most important message.
Yes.
Yeah? So they are the ones who are most in front. They should be heard the most. And then the backups are just following what the lead singer is doing.
Yes.
That is what the lead singer is singing. That's why they're called backups. Yeah? They are backing up. That's why they're called backups. They should be behind the lead singer. They shouldn't be as loud as the lead singer. Now, although, for example, like music, like for Kirk Franklin, he just speaks a few words and then the backups are the lead. So that's why I say train your ear, listen to the music that your choir is singing, that your church is singing, and get used to it. Sometimes the backups are the ones who are the most important. But in most scenarios in Uganda, the lead singer is the one in front, and then the backups are just accompanying.
Yes. How about instrumentalists?
Then the instrumentalists. Obviously, you need to hear the instruments, but they shouldn't be very, very loud. The most important would be the keyboard, because you have to hear the key the singers are singing in. Yeah, so the keyboard would be the most important, and then you can after the keyboard, bass. These are my opinions. You can try out your own style and see how it works. But if you're doing a choir-based thing, so it's singers, then say keyboards, then bass, drums, and then guitars. Yeah, and now the interesting thing would be the bass and the drums. They have to blend.
That's a challenge.
They must blend. They must blend, starting from the players. The players need to be in sync. They need to play. They need to be in sync. Those two are the most important piece.
Yes,
I'm sure you've had some. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you've had some bassists and drummers on this show, and it's very important for those two to be in sync. Yeah, so they're the ones holding down the groove, the rhythm, everything. That's the glue, the drums and the bass. And then actually those two are the foundation of the music. So the singers might end up flying off beat if they don't hear and
that
feel
groove.
those two. Yeah, so those two are the foundation. And then you can build up from those. But keep in mind that the lead singer is at the forefront of all those. Yeah. Yeah. So
All right.
that's-
The other question is, you do both secular gigs
Yes.
and church gigs.
Yeah.
So how do you do both of them?
Yes.
But do not akalimi ne katagwayo eri like
Yeah.
some people do. How do you
Yeah.
balance that?
Number one, you have to have the Holy Spirit with you. Whenever I'm doing a gig, I always pray. I always pray before the gig, or pray about the gig. Should I do this gig? Is it necessary?
Really?
Yeah.
So if you're not allowed, you don't.
If the Holy Spirit doesn't allow, I don't do it. Yeah. So, because God is first in my life. God is first. He's the center of it all. And the most important thing we can do right now is follow Him. The times we are living in are crazy. He's the one who keep you centered. So balancing those two, so I pray about the gig, and then if I have a go ahead, then I now tell that the other group, I mention my values. You have to set that first time when you meet them. These are my values. This is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do for you guys. And I can't compromise on this with this and these values. So you have to let them know of your values. Yeah. So by the time they accept you, they know what they're working with. And so that's how I'm able to do those gigs.
That's how you balance church and outside gigs.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us the truth.
Yes.
Which gigs do you enjoy working with?
Which gigs do I enjoy working with? The gigs with the best equipment are the most fun ones. My goodness. If I have the right speakers are there, if the right mixer is there, with everything right, if the right band is there, oh my God.
Just enjoy.
Oh, the band, by the way, if the band is amazing, then the show will be amazing. There used to be a band, we used to call ourselves the Big Band Theory. That's but we haven't played gigs for a while. But
You're an instrumentalist.
no.
Yeah.
We had formed a band. There was a guitarist, drummer, keyboard players, and
you were
that was the sound engineer. So we had fun doing some interesting gigs. But so those are the most fun ones. Those are the most fun ones. Where the gear is right, the band is right, the singers are right, everything is right. Yeah, those are the
And
most
how
fun
about the
ones.
money issue?
The money issue. Yes, the money issue. Like I said, okay, so what type of gig is it? Is it a wedding? Is it a corporate event? I can't charge church the same way I charge UN. So what type of event is it? And then how long am I going to work for? Some events take a week. Some are just
conference.
some are just for a day. How long? And then am I required to do any work after? Is there post-production? We did an album with Lillian Babazi. It's called Lillian and the Sundowners.
Oh.
So we recorded the show, and then there was post-production after. And so it was, it's now out.
Different set of.
Yeah, that's
price.
a whole different set of, that's a whole price, a whole other price altogether, because there's the work on that day and then after. So yeah, that's how I gauge the money thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there challenges that you have faced in this journey, on this journey?
Yeah. Where to start? Let's see. Number one, let's say you go for a gig and you've done your work and no one pays, and you call and no answer. So I've had to change my workflow because of such things. So if we're doing work, I'll expect a certain percentage before and then after the work. So yeah, the other challenge would be, like you say, equipment. Some you go to a place and the equipment is really, really hard to use, and yet the budget is really, really low.
Budget for who? For you, the sound engineer, or
budget to hire any equipment, or just generally the budget is really low. So yeah, it's crazy. So
and yet they expect you
they've hired you to make really good sound. And it's just
you just tell them the budget
Yeah.
is not enough for that sound you want.
Exactly. So you have to meet expectations. You have to tell them, I know you expect this, but this is the reality. So yeah, those are some of the challenges.
Man, you have talked about so many things, and some of those we just need a practical lesson. But right now, we want to thank you so much, you guys who have been watching. That was Edson for you, a sound engineer at
Worship Harvest.
Yes. But he also does so many gigs. If you want him, we are going to put the number there. You will contact us and we shall just direct you to him. We shall hook you to him. So thank you so much for watching. And for those of you that have not yet subscribed, please subscribe. Yes, until we meet again. Bye.